Attention if you are over 60. Right now, thousands of seniors across America are accidentally giving police information that is getting them arrested, even though they are completely innocent. This is not about lying or hiding something. This is about how innocent statements that seem helpful are actually giving police exactly what they need to build a criminal case against you. Self-incrimination can occur in various ways, including accidental statements where a person might inadvertently provide information that connects them to a crime. The problem is that many seniors were raised to be polite, cooperative, and helpful with authority figures, but modern police interrogation techniques are specifically designed to use your honesty and good manners against you. Today I am going to reveal the 5 most common pieces of wrong information that seniors accidentally give to police, why these innocent statements are so dangerous, how police interrogation tactics exploit seniors' natural desire to be helpful, and most importantly, what you should say instead to protect yourself without breaking the law. So stay with me until the end because I will also share the one thing that over 90% of seniors say during police encounters that prosecutors use to convict innocent people in court. And if you are watching right now, please hit like so this video reaches other seniors who need this information, and comment below. Have you ever felt nervous and said too much during a police encounter? Why this is happening more now? An analysis of U.S. crime data shows that the number of arrests of people over 65 grew by nearly 30% between 2000 and 2020, at the same time that overall arrests fell by nearly 40%. The number of elder arrests is growing faster than the population is aging. This means seniors are facing more police encounters than ever before, and many are not prepared for how much policing has changed. Feelings of guilt and stress may cause even innocent individuals to make self-incriminating statements. For seniors, this problem is even worse because of natural age-related changes. Memory issues, confusion about dates and times, hearing problems, and slower processing speed can all make you accidentally give wrong information to police. And here is the scary part. Interactions with police can escalate simply because someone is confused or cannot follow an officer's instructions, and dementia and Alzheimer's can make it difficult for people to communicate. Even if you do not have any diagnosed cognitive issues, stress and nervousness during a police encounter can make anyone say things that are not accurate. Police know this, and they use it to their advantage. The stakes are incredibly high because once you give wrong information to police, you cannot take it back. Even if you correct yourself later, the prosecutor will use your first statement against you in court and claim you changed your story because you are lying. Your freedom, your reputation, and your financial security all depend on understanding what information police are trying to get from you and why you need to be extremely careful about what you say. Wrong information. Number 1. Apologizing or taking blame. The first piece of wrong information that seniors accidentally give police is apologizing or saying sorry. As children, we learn quickly to apologize for our mistakes, even if we are not necessarily at fault, and that is why it is natural to apologize to the police when you are pulled over for a routine stop or to say sorry to other people in a car accident. But here is what many seniors do not understand. When you say "I am sorry" to a police officer, they interpret that as an admission of guilt. If you are pulled over and say "I am sorry, officer," the police report will say that you admitted fault. If you are in an accident and say "I am sorry," that statement can be used against you in both criminal and civil court. Let me give you a real example. A 72-year-old woman was in a minor parking lot accident. She immediately got out of her car and said to the other driver, "I am so sorry, I did not see you." That simple apology was written in the police report as an admission that she was not paying attention and was at fault. Her insurance company had to pay the full claim. Her rates went up, and she was cited for careless driving. All because of 2 words, "I am sorry." The same thing happens with other phrases that sound like taking blame. If you say, "My fault, I was not paying attention, I should have been more careful," or "I did not see you," every one of those statements will be used as evidence that you were negligent or broke the law. Police can misinterpret or take your words out of context. Even if you are just being polite and expressing sympathy, police will write down your words as a confession. Wrong information number 2. Explaining your medical conditions. The second piece of wrong information that seniors accidentally give to police is explaining their medical conditions or medications. Many seniors think that if they just explain their health situation, the officer will understand and be more sympathetic. But this is extremely dangerous. If you tell a police officer that you have any medical condition, they can use that against you. If you say you have arthritis, they will claim that affects your ability to drive safely. If you mention you take medication for anxiety, they will suspect you might be impaired. If you explain you have diabetes, they will use that to justify demanding a blood test. Even handcuffing a person with dementia could be extremely traumatic, and from transport in a police cruiser to interrogation to jailing, any part of an arrest could really be a terror. Let me give you a real example. A 68-year-old man was pulled over for changing lanes without signaling. The officer asked if he was okay and if he had any medical conditions. Trying to be helpful, the man explained that he has early-stage Parkinson's disease and sometimes has tremors in his hands. The officer immediately suspected drunk driving, made him do field sobriety tests, and when he could not perform them perfectly because of his tremors, he was arrested for DUI. His blood test showed 0 alcohol, but he still spent the night in jail and thousands of dollars in legal fees. All because he tried to explain his medical condition. Experts in dementia say it is critical for police officers to learn possible signs of dementia, including confusion, hallucinations and aimless wandering, but training is generally on use of force, laws of arrest and search and seizure. The reality is that most police officers are not trained to understand medical conditions, and they will interpret any health issue as a sign of impairment or inability to drive safely. Wrong information number 3. Giving inconsistent timelines. The third piece of wrong information that seniors accidentally give police is inconsistent timelines or wrong details about timing. This happens because of normal age-related memory issues, stress, confusion, or simply not paying attention to exact times. But police use any inconsistency to claim you are lying. If you tell an officer you left your house at 3 o'clock, but your neighbor says they saw you leave at 3:30, the police will accuse you of being dishonest. If you say you had one drink 2 hours ago, but the bartender says you were there an hour ago, they will claim you are minimizing your drinking. Innocent individuals can make statements that may indicate guilt without realizing it, such as giving inconsistent accounts due to stress or confusion. Here is what happens. Police ask you questions about timing when you are already nervous, stressed, or confused. You try your best to remember, but you get some details wrong. Later, when police check your story and find inconsistencies, they do not think, oh, this person just made an honest mistake with the time. Instead, they think this person is lying, which means they are guilty and trying to cover something up. Let me give you a real example. A 75-year-old man was questioned about a car accident he witnessed. He told the first officer it happened around noon. An hour later, a different officer asked the same question, and he said it was probably closer to 1 o'clock. The police report said his statement changed, suggesting he was not a reliable witness or was possibly lying. In reality, he simply was not sure of the exact time and gave his best estimate both times. But once police write down that your story changed, that information stays in the official record and can be used against you. Wrong information number 4. Admitting you did not understand something. The fourth piece of wrong information that seniors accidentally give police is admitting that they did not understand something or were confused. Many seniors think that if they are honest about being confused, the officer will explain things more clearly. But this is a trap. Investigators ask a series of quick back-to-back questions to confuse the suspect, making them contradict themselves or slip up, revealing inconsistencies in their story. If you tell police I am confused, I did not understand, or I am not sure what you are asking, they will use that statement to suggest you are mentally unfit, possibly impaired, or trying to avoid answering because you are guilty. This is especially dangerous for seniors because of the stigma around aging and cognitive decline. If a police report says the suspect appeared confused and could not understand simple questions, that can be used to question your fitness to drive, your mental capacity, and your credibility as a witness. Let me give you a real example. A 70-year-old woman was questioned after a minor accident. The officer asked her multiple quick questions about what happened, and she felt overwhelmed. She said honestly, "I am a little confused right now, can you slow down?" That statement was written in the report as the driver appeared confused and disoriented at the scene. Later, the DMV used that report to require her to take a mandatory driving evaluation, which cost her time, money, and stress. All because she admitted she felt confused in a stressful moment. Police interrogation tactics exploit psychological vulnerabilities and create pressure situations designed to elicit confessions, including repeated accusations and contradictory statements to create confusion. The truth is that feeling confused during a police encounter is completely normal, especially when officers are asking rapid-fire questions or using technical legal language. But admitting confusion gives police ammunition to use against you. Wrong information. Number 5. Volunteering extra information. The fifth piece of wrong information that seniors accidentally give police is volunteering extra information that was not asked for. This happens because seniors want to be helpful, want to explain the full situation, or feel nervous and talk too much to fill the silence. If you volunteer a self-incriminating statement without being pressured to do so, it could lead to criminal prosecution, even though you have not been informed of your Miranda rights. Here is why this is so dangerous. Every piece of information you volunteer gives police more to investigate, more to question you about, and more opportunities for you to contradict yourself. If an officer asks where you are going and you just answer the grocery store, that is one piece of information. But if you volunteer, "Oh, I am going to the grocery store, and then I might stop at the pharmacy, and maybe grab lunch, and I need to get gas too," now you have given them 4 different locations to check, 4 different timelines to verify, and 4 different opportunities to find inconsistencies. Let me give you a real example. A 66-year-old man was pulled over for a broken taillight. The officer asked for his license and registration. Instead of just handing them over, the man started explaining, "I was just coming from my doctor's appointment, and I am on my way home, and I have been feeling a little tired today because they adjusted my blood pressure medication." The officer heard tired and medication and immediately suspected impairment. The man ended up doing field sobriety tests and having his car searched. All because he volunteered information that was never asked for. One of the biggest mistakes people make before and after an arrest is incriminate themselves, as many people want to help the police and forget that they are a suspect of a crime. The correct approach is to answer only exactly what is asked, with the minimum information necessary, and nothing more. How police interrogation tactics target seniors. Now let me explain how police interrogation tactics specifically exploit seniors' natural tendencies to be polite and helpful. Psychological tactics used by law enforcement officers, such as the good cop bad cop routine, minimization, and other forms of psychological manipulation, can create intense pressure and confusion in the interrogation room. Police use several specific techniques that work especially well on seniors. First, they use the friendly approach. The officer acts casual, sympathetic, and understanding. They might say things like, "I know this is stressful," or "I just need your help to understand what happened." This makes seniors feel like the officer is on their side and wants to help them. So they open up and share information they should keep private. Second, police use the confusion technique. This technique involves asking the same questions repeatedly or restating the suspect's answers in different ways, designed to bore or frustrate the suspect into revealing more details or becoming inconsistent. For seniors who may already have some memory issues or trouble processing information quickly, this technique is especially effective at creating contradictions that police then use as evidence of lying. Third, officers use the minimization technique. They downplay the seriousness of the situation by saying things like, "This is just routine," or "We just need to clear this up." This makes seniors think the situation is not serious, and they do not need to be careful about what they say. Minimization tactics, where the investigator downplays the seriousness of the crime or suggests that confessing will result in a lighter sentence, can convince suspects that admitting guilt is their best option, even when they are innocent. Fourth, police use time pressure and exhaustion. They keep asking questions, going over details repeatedly, until the senior is tired, confused, and just wants the encounter to end. At that point, seniors will often agree to anything or admit to things just to make the questioning stop. The science behind why seniors give wrong information. Let me explain the science behind why seniors are especially vulnerable to giving wrong information to police. This is not about seniors being less intelligent or capable. This is about normal age-related changes that make police encounters more difficult. First, there is processing speed. As we age, it takes longer to process information and formulate responses. Confusion in the elderly patient is usually a symptom of delirium or dementia, but it may also occur in major depression and psychoses. When a police officer is asking rapid questions and expecting quick answers, seniors may feel pressured to answer before they have fully thought through their response. This leads to inaccurate or incomplete information. Second, there is memory retrieval. Older adults may have more difficulty quickly recalling specific details like exact times, dates, or sequences of events. When police demand precise information, seniors may guess or estimate rather than admitting they do not remember, because they fear looking incompetent or confused. Third, there is stress response. High-stress situations like police encounters affect seniors differently than younger people. Stress hormones can interfere with memory formation and retrieval, making it harder to remember details accurately even if those events just happened. Fourth, there is sensory processing. Many seniors have some degree of hearing loss, vision problems, or other sensory issues. If they do not hear a question correctly or do not see something clearly, they may give wrong information based on what they thought they heard or saw. Vision or hearing impairments make it harder to process information, leading to misunderstandings and cognitive strain. Fifth, there is the authority bias. Seniors grew up in an era when police were seen as helpers and protectors, and questioning authority was considered disrespectful. This makes seniors much more likely to comply with police requests, answer questions they should not answer, and volunteer information they should keep private. Real legal cases where seniors gave wrong information. Let me share some real legal cases where seniors accidentally gave wrong information to police and face serious consequences. These cases show you exactly what can go wrong and why you need to be so careful. In one case, a 73-year-old man was questioned about a theft at his apartment building. He told police he had been home all day and had not seen anything. Later, security footage showed he had actually gone out for a walk that morning. When confronted with this inconsistency, police assumed he was lying to cover up his involvement in the theft. In reality, he had simply forgotten about his morning walk because it was part of his daily routine, and he did not think of it as leaving home. But once police decided he had lied, they focused their entire investigation on him, and he had to hire a lawyer to prove his innocence. In another case, a 68-year-old woman witnessed a car accident and gave a statement to police. She said the light was red when the accident happened. At trial 6 months later, she testified the light was green. The defense attorney used this inconsistency to completely destroy her credibility, suggesting she had been coached to change her story. In truth, her memory had simply faded over 6 months, which is completely normal, but the jury saw it as evidence she was not trustworthy. In a third case, a 71-year-old man was pulled over for suspected drunk driving. The officer asked how much he had to drink. Trying to be honest, he said he had 2 glasses of wine with dinner about 3 hours ago. But when the officer asked what time dinner was, he said around 5 o'clock. The officer pointed out it was now 9:30, which would be 4.5 hours, not 3 hours. The man was confused about the timing because he had not been paying attention to the exact time. But the officer used this inconsistency to suggest he was lying about how much he drank and was more impaired than he admitted. What you should say instead. Now let me tell you exactly what you should say instead of giving wrong information to police. These phrases are legally protected, attorney approved, and will keep you safe without making the situation worse. First, when asked about timing or details you are not completely certain about, say, "I do not recall the exact time," instead of guessing. You have the right to remain silent, and anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Saying "I do not recall" is not suspicious. It is honest, and it protects you from giving inaccurate information that can be used against you later. Second, when an officer asks about your medical conditions or medications, say, "I am not comfortable discussing my medical information." You have the right to medical privacy, and you do not have to disclose your health information to police unless you are being treated by medical personnel after an accident. Third, when you feel confused or overwhelmed by questions, say, "I am exercising my right to remain silent until I can speak with an attorney." This immediately invokes your Fifth Amendment protection. After being detained by police and invoking your Miranda rights, the police must stop the interrogation. Once you say this, police must stop questioning you. Fourth, when an officer asks you to explain what happened, give only the most basic facts. Say, "I was driving on Main Street when the accident occurred," and nothing more. Do not explain where you were going, where you came from, how you feel, or any other details unless specifically required by law. Fifth, if you made a mistake in a previous statement, say, "I need to correct my earlier statement" before saying anything else. Then clearly state the correct information. Do not make excuses or try to explain why you got it wrong. Just correct the record and stop talking. Understanding Miranda rights and when they apply. Let me explain Miranda rights and when they actually apply, because many seniors are confused about this. In the United States, the Miranda warning is a type of notification customarily given by police to criminal suspects in police custody or in a custodial interrogation, advising them of their right to silence and their right to refuse to answer questions or provide information to law enforcement. Here is what many people do not understand. Police only have to read you your Miranda rights if two things are both true. You must be in custody, which means you are not free to leave. And you must be subject to interrogation, which means police are asking you questions designed to get incriminating information. If you volunteer a self-incriminating statement without being pressured to do so, it could lead to criminal prosecution, even though you have not been informed of your Miranda rights. This means that during a regular traffic stop, police do not have to read you your Miranda rights because technically you are not in custody yet, you are just temporarily detained. But here is the important part. Even if police do not read you your Miranda rights, you still have the right to remain silent. You still have the right to refuse to answer questions. You still have the right to an attorney. These are constitutional rights that exist whether or not police inform you of them. During voluntary encounters, if you are not in custody and choose to speak with police voluntarily, Miranda warnings are not required. However, you are not obligated to answer their questions and you can decline to speak at any time. So even during a simple traffic stop, even when just talking to police on the street, you can always invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. The key is that you must clearly say you are invoking that right. You cannot just stay silent and hope police get the message. You must actually say the words, "I am invoking my right to remain silent." How to document police encounters. Now let me teach you how to properly document police encounters to protect yourself. This documentation can be critical if you are later accused of giving wrong information or if you need to prove what actually happened. First, if possible, record the encounter. Federal courts have ruled that people have a First Amendment right to record police officers carrying out their duties in public. You can use your smartphone to record, but you must tell the officer you are recording by saying, "I am recording this interaction for both of our protection." Keep your phone visible and do not be secretive about it. Many smartphones have apps that automatically upload recordings to the cloud, which is important in case the phone is seized. Second, immediately after any police encounter, write down everything you remember. Include the officer's name and badge number if you saw it, the date, exact time, and location. Every question the officer asked and how you answered. Whether you felt confused, pressured, or intimidated. Any witnesses who were present. Do this as soon as possible while your memory is fresh, because details fade quickly. Third, if you gave any information to police, write down exactly what you said to the best of your memory. If you later realize you made a mistake or were wrong about something, document that too. Write down what you said wrong and what the correct information is. This shows you are not trying to hide anything, you are just correcting an honest mistake. Fourth, do not talk to anyone else about the encounter except your attorney. Do not post about it on social media. Do not discuss it with friends or family beyond saying you need to speak with a lawyer. Anything you say to anyone other than your attorney can potentially be discovered and used against you. What to do after giving wrong information? If you have already given wrong information to police, here is exactly what you need to do to minimize the damage and protect yourself. First, do not panic and do not try to contact the police to explain or correct your statement without an attorney. Anything you say in an attempt to fix the situation can make it worse. Inaccuracies in police reports can be used by the defense to challenge the validity of charges. Second, immediately contact a criminal defense attorney. Even if you have not been charged with anything yet, you need legal advice about how to handle the situation. An attorney can help you determine if you need to file a correction to your statement, and they can do it in a way that protects your rights. Third, document everything about the encounter and what information you gave that was wrong. Write down what you said, what you should have said, and why you made the mistake. Was it because you were confused about the timing? Did you mishear the question? Were you stressed and nervous? Your attorney needs to know all of this. Fourth, gather any evidence that supports the correct information. If you said you were somewhere at 3 o'clock but you were actually there at 2 o'clock, gather receipts, credit card statements, security footage, or witness statements that show the correct time. This evidence can help prove your mistake was innocent and not an attempt to deceive. Fifth, do not give any more statements to police without your attorney present. If police contact you again for more questions, politely say, "My attorney has advised me not to answer any questions, and I am following that advice." Then immediately contact your attorney and let them know police tried to question you again. Final advice and protection. Finally, here is my most important advice for seniors dealing with police encounters. The system is not designed to give you the benefit of the doubt. Police are trained to gather evidence and build cases. They are not trained to consider that you might just be confused, nervous, or making an honest mistake. Protecting yourself from self-incrimination requires knowledge, preparation, and self-control, and understanding and using your rights reduces the risk of harmful statements even if you are innocent. You must take responsibility for protecting yourself by understanding your rights and using them. Do not feel guilty about invoking your right to remain silent. Do not feel like you are being uncooperative or difficult. These rights exist specifically to protect innocent people from accidentally saying things that make them look guilty. As a senior, you face extra challenges because of the natural effects of aging on memory, processing speed, and stress response. You face extra pressure because you were raised to respect authority and cooperate with police. But you must understand that modern policing is very different from when you were younger. Police use sophisticated psychological techniques to get information from you, and they will use your politeness and desire to be helpful against you. Know your rights. Use the phrases I have given you. Stay calm and respectful, but never give information to police beyond the absolute minimum required by law. Never apologize or take blame. Never explain your medical conditions. Never volunteer extra information. Never admit you are confused. And never give statements about timing or details unless you are completely certain. If you make a mistake and give wrong information, contact an attorney immediately before trying to fix it on your own. Document everything, protect your rights, and remember that your freedom and your future depend on being extremely careful during every police encounter. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, but you also need to protect yourself by understanding that any information you give to police, right or wrong, can and will be used against you.